All right, so let's look at doing the secondary animation. Let me commit with this though. Use games UEG. Of course, this is with the bogus extra copies. Instance picker rendering. Okay. So. And I should split into its own file probably. Alright, so the build picker box. Alright, so the build picker box, I want to actually make this second box a little smaller. So I guess 2.0. And then maybe make the teeth a little taller. Okay, and then in the logistics, add draw picker. Okay, here's what we want to do. Mobile at pickup. So if you're mobile at pickup, you want to wait with your teeth open. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to teleport the teeth closed rather than animating them closed, because they need to finish animating closed at the moment they pick up the thing. But that tick, that happens at the tick point, and so leading up to that point, I would need to compute whether or not I am going to successfully pick something up, which gets sort of back to that promises idea, reserving which one you're going to pick so you know in advance, so you can commit to it, so you can animate for it. So we'll just fake it for now. So if state equals 1, then closed, else open. So I don't know what the values for these are. I'm sure you won't even be able to see this. And then on state 4 or 3, is it? Posterator. Which are the bone weights? 3 and 7. Yeah, so 7 is the 3. This is bone weight 7. This, which is the sub 3 bone value, is added to the height. Yeah. So the height, similarly, I'll just teleport it. Once you pick the thing up and you're moving it away, you want to be low, which was negative. And let's just go ahead and exaggerate the motion, actually, the positions. And it's still probably going to be too small to be seen, is my guess. But we'll try it and see. Okay, so now the teeth are too long. Well, I can just move the whole assembly up. It will look better like that anyway. And they are too wide. So I assume that that's this. Then that would be something like that. And then building them X, Y, Z. So we want to build it up higher. Let's add 0.3 to everything. So these all go here. Let's take a look at that. I think it's a DOS keyboard blue. I think it's a DOS keyboard blue. I think that was what we figured out one time when we investigated. Okay, so it's up higher when it comes out, and it is down lower when it goes back, but you can barely tell. It's so fast. And I don't know about the teeth at all. I can't judge the teeth. And you guys are even worse off because it's only 30 frames per second at most. That's all I'm uploading. Okay, yeah, but so here, this one gets stopped with the teeth open. So the teeth are still way too wide. And then we need to raise up the object, the sprite that's being rendered in it by that same 0.3 probably. Oh, it doesn't offset at all. That's weird. So these are too big. Oh wait, heading towards pickup. And mobile at drop off we also still want to do. Wait, heading towards drop off. Oh, it depends which direction it is. Right. No, it's always consistent. Pick up to drop off. So mobile at pickup. Okay, so I lost track of what these are. If you're mobile at pickup, you don't have it. If you're ammoing towards pickup, you don't have it. If you're mobile at drop off, if you're animating towards drop off, that's when you have it. That's the only time you have it. It's animating towards drop off. So I got this. I was on the wrong state. So I don't even know which values it was actually looking at. So let's try it again. Okay, and then it jumps up to it jumps its height when it gets to the end, which is clearly wrong. So animating towards drop off or immobile at drop off because it always pulls back. Oops, this is in the wrong spot. And it's not and, it should be or. So it's this for now. We need to systematize all this stuff differently. So if you were ever able to get like, if we ever had a, bullet. So if you were ever able to get like, if we ever had a, bullet time mode where we ran in super, if we ever had a, bullet time mode where we ran in super slow-mo, then you would really want to be able to see the animation not just switch the way it currently switches, which you can't even tell. Okay, so what does it want to do? When it picks something up, it can stay low. And when it drops it off, yeah, it depends on whether it's, it depends on which direction is the conveyor belt, what I want to do for the height. I mean, it could just always go up and then down at each end, but then you would never see it because it's instantaneous. If we ever had a bullet time mode where we ran in super slow-mo, then you would really want to be able to see the animation not just switch the way it currently switches, which you can't even tell. Okay, so what does it want to do? When it picks something up, it can stay low. And when it drops it off, yeah, it depends on whether it's, it depends on which direction is the conveyor belt, what I want to do for the height. I mean, it could just always go up and then down at each end, but then you would never see it because it's instantaneous. So maybe the up-down isn't even actually useful. It's currently staying down at the end, which is not what I want. If we ever had a bullet time mode where we ran in super slow-mo, then you would really want to be able to see the animation not just switch the way it currently switches, which you can't even tell. Okay, so what does it want to do? When it picks something up, it can stay low. And when it drops it off... Yeah, it depends on whether it's... It depends on which direction is the conveyor belt, what I want to do for the height. While it's dropping off, it wants to be more closed. And once it doesn't have anything, it can be more open. But I think that's too wide. Yeah, it's up too high, so we should maybe lower it back down a little bit, because it's having to effectively teleport down. I mean, I could have it animate down, it's just, like I said, getting the timing on that is actually a pain. Alright, so... just settle on the compromise for now, and someday we'll try to do better. Oh, I forgot to load the object. Yeah, okay, so I don't even want to bother with the vertical motion. And I need to move the object down. Wow, the lag is really long. How about if it does the down motion after it's actually dropped it, and hope you can't really tell. Of course, the whole down motion doesn't make any sense physically. There's nothing for it to be moving up and down on. Like how could you what would you physically build that would allow that? We'd have to maybe if it were in two pieces. Yeah, it is opening too wide once it opens. Because I made that thing smaller. So yeah, what if animating towards pickup? No, animating towards drop off is when it's carrying it. No, wait, okay, so it's just dropped them off. Okay, so maybe both. If our state equals animating towards pickup, what is offset? Oh, offset is the animation time. So actually we can just use that for both of these. Okay. So, so what we do is we go to the down state and then we animate to the up state. So, offset. The down state is like that, and the up state is like that. Maybe. and offset is less than. So how much of the trajectory should it take? Maybe a quarter. So when we go from 0 to 0.5, remap that to negative that. And else boom state 2 equals state in the high state. Oh, and I guess I could try to create the other picker. This would be the other thing to do now. So yeah, I think that motion is just too subtle to even tell. Let's exaggerate it more. No, it doesn't even seem to be doing it. Wait, let's look at this one. No, I don't actually see the motion at all now. Am I updating the wrong one? I'm updating the wrong one. That's why. Okay, so now it's probably too exaggerated. Yeah, you just can't even parse it. Like, it is doing a little shape like that. But it's just about impossible to tell. Yeah, now you can tell. Super subtle though. It's just like one frame of it being down, basically. But I think that works. That's good enough. Might be down too far, actually. Super subtle, though. Yeah, now you can tell. Super subtle though. It's just like one frame of it being down, basically. But I think that works. That's good enough. Might be down too far, actually. All right. There we go. So there's a little bit of that animation. Okay, and then, so the other kind of picker, do I want to try to code that? I have to build a whole new model. There's a little bit of that animation. Okay, and then, there we go. So there's a little bit of that animation. Okay, and then, so the other kind of picker, do I want to try to code that? I have to build a whole new model. That's the problem. Because the whole, kind of the point was that the shader should be adaptable to other machinery. I think I don't want to deal with trying to write that, design that other model right now, though. I think it would be pretty cool looking. All right, sure, let's try it. So what we're going to do is we'll just replace the current pickers with this alternative picker to start with. And I'll if-def it, and then later I'll come back and make them actually be separate things once we actually have wasn't even drawing all that many pickers. It was probably 5,000. Once we have enough of a sim that we actually have multiples of these. Okay, so gotta go to voxel render. Okay, now to do this one, I need to actually have 2 sets of bone weights. Oops. That's supposed to be 1. And then all the top vertices use 1, and all the bottom vertices use another. How can I tell that? Because of the z-coordinate. So if the z-coordinate is 0, then that is the bottom. Okay, so we make the bottom use 1 and the top use 2. That'll be consistent. Okay, so then it's just, oh, of course I called them 1 and 2, and here I called them 0 and 1. Great. Okay. Now these need to pass in bone weights twice. Okay. Now, okay, so what we want to do is I want to build a box. Okay, and I'm going to only make this really work correctly for the output side. I'm not going to worry about making for the ore makers, the ore destroyers. It's going to be positioned wrong, but that's okay. So first we want to build a base for it. So the base will live at 0.15. That'll be 0.3.03, 0.3. And it wants to live a little off to the side. So this is X facing. So we go X, Y, Z. So it's to the Y axis. So we want to put it like 0.25. That's just a starting guess. Okay, now we want to make a rod that connects. So the midpoint, that only works if I make its Z height be the same as the drop-off point. So we want to actually put this at a little higher. Okay, so then bone weight. So what are we going to do? Bone 1, which is the XYZ bone, is XY chord. No, they need to be separate, right? It's the X chord of grabber. 1, 2, 1. Let's see if this mapping works. bone 3 Z chord of grabber, bone 4 Z chord of joint. Okay, so can I do that? X, Y, Z, Z. X, Y, oops, X, Y, Z, Z now. So I have to do Z, X, Y, Z. Okay. So the rod, the bottom of it is at the base, but the top of it is at the joint. So bone weights of 2 is 127. Bone weights of, so this is bone weights with that. So that's the one. Bone weights with that. Bone weights is. Wait, this didn't add up to 7. I missed one. Oh, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So the bone weights of 3 is the x coordinate, and we get half of it. Bone weights of 5 is the y coordinate, and we get half of it. Bone weights of 7 we don't get because we're not the grabber. Okay, so that's the top end of the rod. So let's build the rod. Vertices plus equals build picker box. Now we need 2 of these. This is bone weights of 2. So the top gets the other bone weights. So now it'll stretch this little square box, which will make much smaller. It'll stretch one end of it to another location. But sure, we'll have its starting point be centered. Okay, and now we want to put a node up there. Let's just make it the same size. So now this one gets bone weights of 2 for both points. And sure, let's just offset from the base coordinate. Why not? So we just can't copy the base coordinate still. Okay, now we need a rod going to the end point. So let's set bone weights to the end point. So that is bone weights of 3 equals 127. Bone weights of 5 equals 127. Bone weights of 7 equals 127. And build another rod. And its coordinates. Sure, these coordinates are all just relative to the base point. And then build another node at the end. Let's use this bone weights and bone weights. Okay, so these are all just simple shapes at the end, at each point. We just want to see if the animation. Yeah, it's like a one joint. It's a animation. Yeah, it's like a one joint. It's a totally faked one joint arm. Like, it'll be clear because these things are cubes that it doesn't actually rotate. But hopefully the motion will look like it's rotating, and then if we change the cubes to more spherical shapes, you won't be able to tell that it's not rotating. Its joints are moving in space as if it were rotating, but it's actually stretching. So, okay, so now we've done everything we need to do here. It's just the bone weights need updating, right? So this will just be totally wrong. Let's just see to make sure I'm actually doing stuff. I can check what the scale of the things are. To make sure let's just see to make sure I'm actually doing stuff. I can check what the scale of the things are. Yep, so there's 3 nodes. The nodes are a little too big. Okay, so alright, so this is where we're making the base point be. That's we'll need to compute everything relative to that. And it's important that it be relative to that. That's how we're going to make the middle point work. So x, y, so z, x, y, z. Okay, so logistics. That's the point that we're working from. Okay, so endpoint. The endpoint of the thing is this. This right here is if we want it to be in the same spot, it has to be that relative to this, which is just -0, so we don't have to do anything. But that now has to go in bun state 1. Yeah, the y position is 0 minus 0.5. It's 0, so let's just go ahead and do this. Back base equals 0, 0.5, 0.20. So this is minus base dot y minus base dot x, and bone state of 3 is, we could try to do the same thing, the drop off snapping position. But let's just say it wants to be at about, where does this one get carried? The sprite. 0.175. That seems like that's really low. How high does it render the... that's interesting. I wonder how high it renders the normal ones. Let's just say it's at 0.30. Okay. And then the joint height is that or higher, depending on how collapsed the arm is. So when, let's just do the exact computation for now. Okay, so that's how long, how far it's stretching from the end to end. And it's allowed to be wait, that base isn't right because it's centered. I forgot it was centered. Okay, let's go redo this. I forgot this was all centered, but it didn't look centered. That's a little odd. It seems like this has to be negative 0.5. Alright, well, let's just assume that I'm correct, that it needs to be negative 0.5 and see what happens. Let's just set bone state of 0 to 1.0, so it'll just stretch. It won't compute the correct length. It'll be obviously not articulated for real. That's a perfectly reasonable starting point. It should be obvious that it's cheating. Okay, yeah, so the wrong end is moving out. So that has to be not at negative 0.5, but at positive 0.5. That's weird. Oh, that means that these ones are correct. Yeah. mean, you almost can't really tell that it's wrong, but the whole point is that that should actually get larger. So it's a little low. All right, so let's reverse it. So the drop-off one looks right. Let's make these smaller. But not the drop-off one. Let's make it flatter, but not smaller. Okay, so then actually I divide that by 2 because there's 2 of them, 2 segments. Okay, so that's the length one segment has on the XY axis. So then the Z length it needs to make that constant, let's arbitrarily, incorrectly set it to say that it's 1 long minus len. And so then this has to be len minus base Z. And it doesn't quite work because I actually need to make both lengths constant, and I'm not really computing that correctly. Len, oh yeah. What exactly am I developing? It's a sort of Minecrafty voxel. What exactly am I developing? It's a sort of Minecrafty voxel game with Factorio, factory construction kinds of stuff. Okay, so this thing isn't sticking out far enough off the wall. But yeah, you can see that the top end goes up and down. And the and it's not actually correct. Well, it's kind of correct because I'm doing the square root, but it's not really correct because the 2 endpoints are at different heights, so it's not really right. And I can replace that square root with an approximation that's even wronger. Okay, so I need to move it up a little bit higher. Okay, so I need to move it up a little bit higher. And let's make it a little shorter on arm. Oh yeah, it's going shorter than is legal. So that must have been too small. That must be smaller than the actual length of it. Oh, the problem is because I want it to end up so high. Oh yeah, and this doesn't cause the normals to adjust at all. Alright, so let's fix the other things. So, first of all, it's the base piece is too far inside the wall. Right, it needs to be out by 1.5. Let's raise it. And let's push it further off center. Okay. And let's actually put the rod a little more out from the wall. Which is... like that, maybe. Okay, and then I need to take this math back to the other thing. So that's that's 0.35. Hilarious. All right. Oh, I might have adjusted the other one and I didn't adjust it here, which would make it the math totally wrong too. Okay, why is it... Oh, because it's inside the machine, right? That's all intentional. Like, okay, so I brought it too far out. The fact that its resting state is inside the machine is just kind of problematic. And this is what I was saying about this being at the wrong end. The base is by the conveyor belt, so when it operates, it's going to do the wrong thing. I guess I could put the base on the ground. There's no guarantee there's ground under it. There isn't ground under this one. So it wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, it needs to attach to the side that has the machine is the problem, which I don't know currently. I guess I could check, but... I guess I have a flag, actually, in the sim. Let's check if I can find that. Where do I sim the pickers? Belt tick. Where do I sim the pickers? Long tick chunk machines. Pickers. Input is belt. And output, right? And output is belt. So you could actually be both attached to belts. I won't worry about that case for now. Okay, so then back to the render. Okay, so to render it, if I arrow, so I'm currently coded favoring output is belt. So if input is belt, then state equals state XOR2 and rot equals rot XOR2. So we just rotate the machine, we rotate the picker 50 degrees and put it into the opposite phase, and that'll cause all this stuff to do the right thing. So now we have to use rot instead of pi rot and state instead of pi state. And we'll do the same thing for these just to be consistent, although I don't think I need to. Now it's also, currently it's just moving a linear motion of the trajectory. It's not swinging it at all, and it could swing it. The constraint is just that that joint at the top is just can only do this. It can't rotate independently. Let's do this. We need to move the base higher to prevent the current behavior because we kept moving the endpoint up. Yeah, not much I can do about that. Okay, so we reverse the state and the rot. I wanted to move the base back down to the ground. No, right, because I attached it to the machine now. Maybe. Okay, so there was still some other visual problem that I didn't like. I don't remember what it was. So there was still some other visual problem. Maybe. Okay, so there was still some other visual problem that I didn't like. I don't remember what it was. So what would be nice to do would be to add another state to the machine while it's waiting for the pickup, where it stays in the middle state instead of going inside the machine. It looks dumb while it's inside the machine. It just shouldn't go as deep into the machine also, which we can fix, actually. We know now that these rules are assuming it's an output machine, so immobile at pickup and aiming towards pickup. State 0 and 1 is the 0 end. So we make the 0 end be less deep. So the problem is we can't pivot that endpoint. We can't make that endpoint like rotate into the thing, because that's just not expressible in the current system. We could add that. We could have that as an option. Have all machines have an option to rotate a midpoint or an endpoint. We'd have to hard code which one it is. So can you tell the lengths aren't preserved? Yes, you can, because they're two different lengths. When it's extended, they're the same length, and when it's vertical, they're different lengths. But we can make the machine end be lower now, which will fix that. So the machine end is the 0, 1 end. So we can say at the 0 end we want to be lower. Alright, I think that'll do it. Alright, I think that'll do it. Well, it's still clearly shorter. Oh, it's because it's kind of internal to the thing. We should make that pole come from out of the top. And it's still too horizontal. I guess I just want the arm to be longer. I guess that will help. So I want to put it back to 1 times 1. So yeah, the position of the sprite doesn't match. The rod coming in doesn't really match, but we just make the rod skinnier, that'll help. They need to be fine positioned. I need to make an editor or something for these, so I'm not sitting here typing numbers and rebuilding over and over. I mean, the build is fast, but or something for these, so I'm not need to be fine positioned. I need to make an editor. They need to be fine. They need to be fine positioned. I need to make an editor or something for these, so I'm not sitting here typing numbers and rebuilding over and over. I mean, the build is fast, but I just need like an interactive thing to change these. Should just add something for that. But so then the idea is that eventually these could actually be smart and steer to different points on the belt to drop when there isn't room like this. Instead of stopping and waiting for that slot to get free, you could actually aim for a different spot. That's the idea of this particular thing. And if I just make all the shapes rounded and not faceted normals, so it all looks curved, it'll probably be fine. But the weird intersection points that are kind of bogus right now, like the way the rod connects to the skinny thing, just looks weird because it keeps changing where it's connecting to it, so they're just interpenetrating. But and did I get this reversal right? Oh, it's animating the object the wrong way now. Sprite render should just be using the old. Oh, it's animating the object the wrong way now. Sprite render should just be using the old. Should still be using Pirate. Does it use state? Oh, it uses pause. Yeah, right there, it uses pause. So yeah, this needs to be changed to follow the trajectory if it does move to a different spot, and if I want it to arc up and down during the motion. But for now, it just needs to reverse the pause. Alright, I think that's gonna... Alright, I think that's gonna be it. Let's take a look at everything, what the current state is. Should I turn back on the 500? Should I draw 500 of these arms per thing up into the sky? Alright, I wanted to check that this worked. Oh, they haven't gotten here yet. And if I make them be primarily metallic, so they use environment maps, maybe the normals being wrong won't matter that much. Yeah, I need to add that same temporary down motion. Same down environment map. I make the wrong one. Down motion. Yeah, I need to add that same temporary down motion. How did I do that here? Is that this? Normally it's 0. 0.05. Oh, okay, right, I see. So now this wants to go negative 1.5 to 0. And then drop on pick this is just this minus drop on pickup plus drop on pickup, which means I can now do that. Drop on pickup wants to affect this one. Can you put two arms opposite sides of the belt? Yes. Can you put two arms opposite sides of the belt? Yes, but they pick up from opposite sides of the belt anyway, so that won't actually do anything very interesting. Oops, wrong one. That is 6, I think. Like that. And then we need to add a picker. And is that rotated the wrong way? There we go. Oh, they happen to be out of sync. I could try to resync them. Okay. So they come out at the same time, but this one's blocked when it tries to drop it, so they don't retract at the same time. What was it that I was just changing? Why are they out from the wall now? I pushed them out too far. Oh, all right, I had moved. Yep, okay, so that is pulling it back. The height of the object is wrong. The height is actually, oh right, I changed it to try to make the height make the height of the end effector try to go down for a moment at the end of the animation. Yeah, okay, I do see it bobble. So I guess what it needs to do, yeah, I need to do some math and figure out if these were two fixed length things, what the trajectory would be, and like make it actually match that so that they actually stay more fixed length. Or just make it sweep out a curve and not even worry about it being fixed length, just so it's more interesting looking, so it doesn't drag them straight out. Although it's probably more realistic to have them drag it straight out. I'm not working on this game full-time. This is a hobby. I have a full-time job. I'm not working on this game full-time. This is a hobby. I have a full-time job, but I am working on this 100% on stream. So you can go to the archives on YouTube and see every single, well, almost every single line of code being written. The first stream got lost, and I did start by cutting and pasting off a little small framework. But anyway, all right. I think that's good enough for the stream. So thanks for watching, and I'll answer questions in chat for a little bit. It's good enough for But anyway, all right. I think that's good enough for the stream. So thanks for watching, and I'll answer questions in chat for a little bit. Bye bye. For a little bit. Bye bye.